Hey VC, I hope everyone's been well. My opening thoughts here are let's make sure technology is working for us and not the other way around. So good to be back here. And for starters, on my t-shirt is Ornette Coleman. I make these. Some of you know I'm a visual artist as well. So the source for this was the album Change of the Century. This is an OG on Atlantic. The way I make those, if you're interested, are via Mylar stencils. I cut these by hand. This is 7.5 millimeter Mylar. And so here's an example. This one's, it's really, okay, put it like that. This is just a triangle with some of my designs cut out of it. They're used tons, you know, using spray paint. This, I use a mixture of bleach and water and a blow dryer, and that's how I get this effect. So yes, Ornette Coleman, one of my heroes musically. Since I got it handy, here's a briefcase I made and painted. And it's actually got the key for it still, so it's totally functional and locks, and crazy, huh? Alright, so anyways, I was going through my jazz collection, you know, A to Z, listening to stuff, and this one, Cannonball Adderly Quartet, Accent on Africa. I was playing this and I'm looking at the back, and you know, the bottom left, it's all produced by David Axelrod. So Axelrod's next in the chronology of my jazz records. So here's Earth Rot. It's the only one I have by him. And so knowing that now, I listened to this anew with fresh ears, and I was like, you know, it's kind of a eureka moment. Oh yeah, that is Axelrod's production. You know, he has a very distinct stamp on his production, very distinct aesthetic. So that was cool to put those together. Okay, so recently Sean, a member of the BC, had a contest. He sent out albums to 4 or 5 people, and our job was to make a video and review it. We did that, and then he had a drawing to draw the winner. Put our names in a plastic bag, shook it up, drew it, and I won. So the prize I chose was it's a near mint copy of Spacemen 3, and it is called For All the Fucked Up Children of This World, We Give You Spacemen 3. Now, despite having read about this group over the years, you know, they're very influential, and yeah, despite having read about them over the years, I never heard, you know, listened to their music. So this is my first experience listening to them. And first 3 songs, I was like, oh man, this is like, it's just going to be kind of a swampy blues rock all the way through. And in a way, it kind of is. It's got a cramped feel to it. But by the 4th song, it's into something a little different. It's still kind of that swampy blues rock formula, but pushed outward like the Velvet Underground were doing it. So yeah, I listened to this all the way through about 2 times, and it grew on me. I think it's important as a marker in history, as a historical document, but hadn't necessarily aged super well in my ears. I'm more familiar with like Project Sonic Boom has produced than I am with the actual Spaceman 3 catalog, but I am going to explore it more since I got this. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so recently in the mail, I got a couple albums to show you, and let's see, the first one's going to be Spiritual Jazz, Volume 7, put out by Jasmine Records. These are all Impulse tracks. They are, I don't believe they're sourced from the original analog tapes, but it still sounds incredible. The sound on this is good. All the discs were flat. They're all 150 gram. There's 3 of them. And so it starts out with John Coltrane's A Love Supreme Part 1, and then it's bookended with Alice Coltrane's Journey in Satya Dan Anda. So really cool bookends. And in between there, you know, we have Elvin Jones, Max Roach, Yusef Lateef, Freddie Hubbard, McCoy Tyner, Archie Shepp, Michael White, Phil Woods, more Alice Coltrane, Pharoah Sanders. And I think that cover artwork is killer. Here's the back. And it is a trifold. And so you get all these awesome, like, liner notes along the top, and then all the awesome information on the artist and things here. It's a really nice package put together, and it's really reasonably priced. It's like $32 before shipping for 3 records. And it was pressed in the UK by Grand Vinyl, and Grand Vinyl did a really good job in this. And it was this was mastered by Colin Young at CY Audio. He also did a good job on mastering this. Sound is great, and the sequence of songs, I think they really did a good job with that. Like, from start to finish, it flows very nicely. There's not a dud on here. I love spiritual jazz. I love this era of jazz, and we're actually in the midst of another one, in my opinion. So yeah, again, this goes back to me thinking, let's make technology work for us and not the other way around. Keep your spirit intact, your soul intact, if you believe in that type of thing. So there's that. I really like the Yusef Lateef song, Sister Mamie. Michael White, The Blessing Song, Phil Woods, A Taste of Honey. I like those two because they were new to me. They were excellent. And of course, you can't go wrong with any of the other artists on here. They're just all phenomenal. So, if you come across this, I recommend getting it. It's worth it for sure. And let's see, I'll just show you real quick. So they're all, like I said, pressed on standard weight black vinyl with the pretty cool label on there. Alright, the other one I got in the mail, this was a blind buy because it's on the label Backwoods Studios, which is a label I have a big affinity for. They're home to Billy Woods, Arm & Hammer, generally hip hop. This is Fielded's Demisexual Lovelace, and this is R&B. Which honestly, I haven't listened to R&B in many years, probably not since the 90s. But this is more of a modern take on R&B, of course. So, and these are all her songs. She did a lot of the production. Willie Green did additional production on it. Willie Green's kind of a mainstay there at Backwoods. He's a good producer. Part of this too was fleshed out at this place called Hambidge Art Center, which is right down the road from me. This person Fielded is from Brooklyn. That's where she lives, but she, I guess, got a residency down there, an artist residency at the Hambidge Center for the Arts, which is in Georgia. So it's cool to read that she fleshed this album out in part there. She had access to a piano, in a studio, and she did a lot of hiking, which around where I live, that's pretty much all there is to do, really. There's not a huge nightlife or anything. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. This is really good R&B. Like, I'm in general not a super huge fan of R&B, but this was good. Really cool samples, good instrumentation, good feel to it. That was sent on. Put it on pink vinyl, 180 gram. Sounds great, as all Backwoods Studios albums do. They really pay attention to the manufacturing of these. You always get really good quality. So those are some new albums. And I think what else I've been thinking about, I don't know, the area I live in, the town, the county, 46.1% of it is United States Forest Service land. And that is why in the beginning of his videos, intros, you often see me out in the woods with a dog or just the dog, hikes, because that's what there is to do here to keep your sanity. Because the community I live in, I'll say I live pretty much in the Buckle area of the Bible Belt, and if you're not really wired that way or don't think that way, don't believe that way, it can be kind of alienating because you're overwhelmed by that majority and sometimes overrun in a way, if that makes any sense. Nothing against them, really. I always try to find something in common with people, common values, even if our values are divergent at certain points, me being a progressive thinker. Where am I going with that? So yeah, the struggle is real here. Being a progressive thinking, creative person, but having all that Forest Service land to walk around in is a good way to keep sanity, and I don't take that for granted. And I also don't take for granted the people I have met here that are my friends, I can count on two hands probably, but they make it okay too. So yes, I'm going to continue working on strengthening like my real life bonds, because sometimes with the isolation and everything, with social media, which I haven't been on as much here in the last few months, it just made me realize how important it is for me to actually try to strengthen bonds person to person. I'm an introvert by nature, and so I don't think social media is always necessarily healthy for introverted types. So anyways, those are just some random things I've been thinking about when I'm listening to records and whatnot. Here's something I did on a record, painted a nice little monster there. I do that sometimes. Anyways, video's kind of random, but I hope it finds you well, and I'd like to hear from you in the comments. And rest in peace, Ornette Coleman. And I'll talk with you all soon. Bye.